Hello everybody, welcome to Active English Training. My name is Ingrid and today's video is for students preparing for their English speaking test. Part of this speaking test is a 1-minute picture description, and in this video I would like to give you 6 tips on how to best tackle this task on an advanced level. I've chosen a picture with not much going on because it can be quite challenging for students to describe a picture for 1 minute or even longer when there is not a lot to see. Tip number 1, establish and describe the what in the photograph. What do I mean by that? Start by establishing who or what is the focal element in the picture. In our example here, there is a young man meditating. That's the focal element. That's what's mainly going on in this picture. Then describe everything related to the what, which means first describe everything that tells you that the man is meditating. And by doing so, move from describing the focal point to relevant elements in the background, and from the most important aspects to the more detailed points. Try to avoid describing random and unrelated elements of the picture, like the color of the man's hair. Here is an example. In this picture, I can see a young man meditating. He's sitting on the ground with his legs crossed, his hands are resting in his lap, and his eyes are closed. This is a typical pose for someone who's meditating. He's wearing comfortable black sports pants, no shoes, he's barefoot, and no top, so you can see his bare upper body. He looks very athletic with a well-toned body, defined arms, broad chest and shoulders, and six-pack abs. The background is a gray wall without any pictures or anything else hanging on the wall that could distract him from meditating. Tip number 2, describe and interpret facial expression and body language. For example, as already mentioned, his eyes are closed, probably to block out what's going on around him so that he can concentrate on his breathing. His facial expression looks very calm and focused. He also seems to be a confident person. The way he's sitting there with his upper body straight, shoulders back, and his head held up indicates confidence. Tip number 3, talk about the who, when, where, why. Imagine and talk about who this is, when and where this might be, and why the young man is meditating. It's a good idea to present 2 ideas for each aspect, which will also help you fill the time and use a variety of vocabulary. For example, maybe this is a young student who is preparing for an exam, or a young professional in a demanding job who started meditating to better cope with the stress and to calm his nerves, or to better focus and to re-energize. Maybe it's in the morning after he got up to get ready for the day, or it's in the evening to unwind and switch off from university or work. This could be in a yoga studio, or in a meditation room at his gym, or in a room or corner in his own home where it's peaceful and quiet. And judging from the young man's body, it seems that he's very sporty and athletic. He probably works out a lot and he wants to keep fit and in shape. Tip number 4. Talk about the non-visible, such as sound, smell, or feeling. There might also be things going on in the scene that are not visible. Think about what the person might hear, smell, or feel. But make sure it's not random or unrelated ideas and interpretations. For example, it is probably very quiet in the room and the young man can only hear his breathing, or he's listening to some meditative music in the background to drown out other distracting sounds like traffic noise. Maybe he has lit a scented candle in the room with a relaxing fragrance such as lavender, and the smell helps him soothe his mind and body. And as he's been sitting in this position for quite a while, his body might start feeling a little ache. Tip number 5, talk about the what's not. What do I mean by that? You can talk about what's not in the scene, what's not happening, or what's not the case or situation, all related to the focal element, of course. For example, there seems to be no one else in the room. The young man probably doesn't want to be disturbed or distracted by anyone. There's also no furniture or decoration in the room. Again, an uncluttered space avoids distractions and probably helps him focus better. For an even more advanced picture description, you can also vary your vocabulary by weaving in a lot of opposites. Here are a few examples. The young man is sitting straight with his head held up. His shoulders are not slumped or his head bent down. The man seems very confident and not insecure or self-conscious. Tip number 6, talk about your personal feelings and opinion regarding the topic of the photograph. This last tip really depends on how your speaking test is structured. If you have to cover a longer time than just 1 minute, let's say 3 minutes, your examiners probably expect you to include talking about your attitude, opinion, personal preferences, or feelings regarding the image topic. But often the picture description and the discussion of the topic with a partner are separate tasks. Then it's better not to include tip number 6 in your description, but save it for the discussion part. But here is an example. I personally don't meditate. It's very hard for me to stop my thoughts. I wish this was easier so that I could better clear my mind and recharge my batteries mentally. I do yoga, which also includes a lot of breathing exercises, but it's just difficult for me to let go of my thoughts. I guess I should probably start practicing meditation then. What I find more meditative is a stand up paddling tour on a small, quiet river. That definitely helps me take my mind off of things and be in the moment. So, I hope these tips are helpful and give you a structure and helpline to make picture descriptions a little more interesting, elaborate, and advanced. I think this structure is also easy to memorize and apply to just any picture that's going to be put in front of you in your speaking test. Just remember, number 1, what? Number 2, facial expression and body language. Number 3, who, when, where, why. Number 4, sound, smell, feeling. Number 5, what's not. And maybe number 6, personal feelings and opinion. Thanks for listening and good luck on your speaking test.